schools, sharing ESD practice with others to review and reflect together, and inspire each other's practice through thoughtful discussion. We call it co-creative discussion and skill and heart of ESD. And the Secretariat School takes turn every year. So I capture this network as students and school teachers and university students as legitimate peripheral participants towards communities of practice, borrowed by the Rabe and Wenger 1991. And it's learning to transform oneself and society, the fifth pillar of lifelong learning and the core of learning theory of ESD. So the basic structure of the program is to hold 1 or 2 study sessions and exchange events per year. So at first glance, the program is not particularly distinctive. So they have presentation of each school's ESD practices, the report from the students who participated in ASP.NET study tour abroad, and also a discussion among students on the good points and areas for improvement of their respective schools' practices. But the most unique aspect of the program, however, is that the secretariat of the network always changes on a rotating basis each year, and work with Okayama University ESD Promotion Center, that is me, myself, and university students who have graduated from schools participating in this network are involved and support these study sessions and exchange meetings. So this is a picture of last year. We did it online. And also she is the graduate student from the students who graduated the high school that is joining the network. And this lady is also, she's also teaching at one of these schools now. So it is no exaggeration to say that the students are at the center of this project. So the students will organize this study session and social event together with myself and the school advisors, the ESD teachers, leader teachers, who has become the secretariat. So during the study session, we will support the high school students in their communication. So in order to do so, they themselves will learn about ESD, and how to learn with this will have a great effect. It is from the appearance of the university students that the high school students learn. So the college students include future teachers, and the teachers, more than anyone else, learn and grow through long-term exposure to their growing figure of the past students. So the best outcome of this program is that many of these youth became teachers in Okayama area now and working hard on ESD. And this system works well and becoming one of the model case for the systemic ESD in Japan. So the Okayama City BOE, Board of Education, and I will work even more closely on establishing this system now. And as a result, we believe that a good cycle is in place after the session. So for example, this picture, in this picture, the high school student came to the university student who organized and facilitated the meeting to show their admiration and take picture together. So remember this lady, she used to be a high school student of this network, this lady, and now helping the high school students. And she's now a teacher at one of these schools. So recently, the study group has been online for a long time due to COVID-19, but still it continues. And last year, we created a SDGs calendar based on the students' ideas. So this was an exchange with the UNESCO associated school in Bulgaria, with which Okayama has a sister city affiliation. So the SDGs closest to the ESD activities of each school plus the activities of the student, university student staff were chosen, and the high school students thought of the message and assigned the month and collaborated to create 12 pieces of art. And also there were some difficulties we were able to overcome through the power of networking and completed the project. And this year, for the first time in several years, we were able to hold a workshop for teachers from schools in our network in person at Okayama University. New teachers and schools are being added, and veteran teachers are being encouraged to introduce and learn from even more new teachers here. So I also gave a short lecture on the current status of ESD and UNESCO associated schools. So we had a thorough review of last year's activities and exchange ideas for the next exchange meeting. So I have decided to include the student staff too. This is another student of our university who is going to be a teacher from next year here as well. And I thought this would further deepen the learning of this network. And we also conduct a survey of questions. The purpose is to identify what teachers expect and learn from this network. The results reveal the following. So this network functions as students' identity formulation and teachers' transformation, promote teachers' transformation, and also helped teachers' empowerment and teachers' identity formulation. The key secret is the domain for this ESD community of practice is not only how to promote ESD in each school and how to become a regional center for ESD in their local communities, but also how to develop our students and develop our own people. And the practice is an annual exchange or annual meeting exchange meeting. And the practice is the planning and management of the annual exchange of practice, as well as service learning on various themes rooted in ESD at each school. So we also believe that community is nurtured not only by students among UNESCO associated schools, but also by their members, university student teachers, and university faculty members in firm consultations with each other. So formulation of ESD communities of practice are still in progress, but these advisory teachers of each school and secretary at the school helps each other, support each other. And also the university student staff and secretary at school teachers work together to build the ideas for the learning session and exchange meeting and sharing experiences with the teachers and support younger students. And also we university faculties work with the student staff and this secretary at school teachers and overall these advisory teachers in teams. So our university will be a platform to the university students as well as the advisory teachers and secretariat school teachers. So also we function as a platform to give academic support to implement ESD practices at every school. These are the university student staffs who is supporting the high school students' annual year meetings. Okay, one last thing, with the help of the teacher, who is also the founder of this network, we have created video learning materials for ESD teacher education in 2020. So there is also a supplemental reading material and all the interviews with the teachers. So I hope you will find it useful and maybe sometimes you can use it for the teacher training sessions or the youth training sessions to have a model for the teachers engaged with the local community, which is very important for the sustainability education that I believe. thank you very much for listening. And I am sorry for taking up the time for the technical problems, but thank you very much.
Thank you, Hiroko, for your nice talk. You spoke very well about the community and ESD. It's very much required. Then the teacher training, you highlighted very good, and this is really required. Then exchange of the programs, whatever you learned, you can exchange with your other schools, other students, maybe other country. That is one of the very good suggestion you have given. And SDG calendar, I am very happy that you have started the SDG calendar. Maybe in our daily schools, our principals are here, teachers are here, maybe they can implement the same, the SDG calendar. It's a very nice thing.
Actually, it can be downloaded from this website. So
okay,
please
very
check
good.
this out. Yeah?
Sure. So thank you very much, Hiroko, for the nice talk. Next, I will invite Gosia for her talk.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. It's really nice meeting you. Thank you for inviting me to be on this panel as well. And welcome everyone from Copenhagen. I was on this conference on the first one that was physically organized a few years ago before pandemic. So I really appreciate also to be part of this session today. When I'm thinking about, and I want to say a few words, I'm also I'm from representing Foundation for Environmental Education. We are based in Copenhagen, and we have a network of over 100 members around the world running 5 educational programs. And I'm working, I'm a director of Young Reporters for the Environment. I suppose you were able to meet some of the young reporters that are today at this conference with you and interviewing people, creating some stories and sharing them online on a national level, but also with us on the international level. When I'm thinking about, do you want me to say some few words about this, or there will be questions?
No, you can speak. Then
okay. I can say when I'm thinking about important roles of educators, I think they are the first group, they are agents of change for youth on the local level, and they require our main focus. When we are working through eco schools or our other educational programs, the main offer that we are creating is actually for educators, for teachers. And it's so important that the teachers also have opportunity to be trained, to educate themselves, to increase the skills. But also it's so important that they are motivated for this, that they feel that their role is so crucial, that they are helping youth to shape their future knowledge, to be the young leaders of activities locally. And that's why we need so much to appreciate the role of teachers. And what is important also to support teachers in education for sustainable development is to organize action-oriented projects among schools. I think the other aspect is as well to increase the international collaboration and let people to look into educational programs globally and from different perspectives. And that will help to increase skills and knowledge, and also run the global education on ESD, not only focuses on very small area and one country, but looking it from different perspective. And I think this is so important to work from that. Also, from the learning process it's important to share knowledge about teachers, education, and education that is focused on programs, on different type of activities, like the one that Hiroko was now presenting from UNESCO Espinat schools. And in that aspect, I would like to highlight as well that in FI, we have organized an e-learning platform that is called FI Academy. And there are several ESD programs that are actually oriented for teachers' education, for students, and running different type of educational programs and activities. And they are available for free Everyone can sign up, register for it. And this also, it's one of our parts of work that we think about ESD and how to support teachers globally. So maybe that's for now. And then if there will be questions, I can continue.
Okay, thank you, Basia. You spoke about agents of the change that we all believe, because when you educate our children, they are agents. Then international collaboration, what you are doing here, so many people are here, so many countries are here. Then the team building. Team building means these teachers, students, they work together and they will go to the community. I think that was a very good idea you have given. And FE always doing a lot of, yesterday Pramod was also saying the same thing here in the session. And I believe we will have a collaboration, good collaboration with you, and our teachers and our students, they can learn much from your FE experience. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Next, we will move to, because there is a little problem, Monica and myself have to leave at 3. I will invite Monica to speak about the education, and you can speak now.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sabit, and good afternoon, everyone. So, very interesting inputs by the speakers earlier who talked about team development, and yes, SDGs, that too was very interesting. I am just going to give you a bird's eye view of what we are doing in schools. And the aspect that I'm going to touch is, yes, whatever is being done, it has to be sustainable, it has to be environment friendly. And what we are doing is we are adopting the ancient Indian practices and proving to everyone that these were probably the best things to do, and probably forgotten over time, but then they need to be readopted so that sustainability once again becomes the 4-point of the students of this country, and they can welcome themselves to a cleaner and a greener planet. So I'll talk about the Ganesha festival, which ended yesterday. And earlier, when this festival was started, and I'm talking about ancient India, so this was keeping in mind the environment, getting all the teams, all the members together. And yes, the Ganesha idol was made of clay. Paint was nowhere to be seen, and it was worshipped. But then came in the so-called modernization, and in the name of getting something very grand, there was a large amount of lead paint that was used to make those large idols may look wonderful, beautiful. At least that's what the people thought. But then over the years, what I want to tell you is this is not sustainability, and that's why it went away. So those large idols, when they were immersed in the water bodies, everybody was then concerned about water pollution. There were people telling us that don't drink water from those particular water bodies for a few days because it's poisonous. And now we've come back. So again, the idols are made of clay, and minimal paint, eco-friendly, is being used. In fact, to bring in another rich aspect is that now those clay idols have some seeds embedded in them. And once they are immersed, that water is then put in the fields, kitchen gardens, and those seeds are growing, and that's sustainability. So that is what we are doing in school. And yes, we also did a similar immersion of the Ganesha idol yesterday. The second thing is about our climate. When we talk about the Indian climate, we probably forget that we have everything around us. But there are times when we want to ape different countries, different communities, and in that bid, we sometimes end up doing something that is more harmful than it can actually prove its utility. One such thing is leather shoes. The Indian climate is not set for leather shoes. In the summers, there are students, there are people, general public, who suffer a lot from foot infections. So in the school now, we have given an option. For a year, it's an option. Next year, it becomes mandatory that only canvas shoes would be allowed, no leather shoes. And the aspect related to environment that is embraced in this is that curing of leather also takes in so much water and so many chemicals are used. The third aspect is biodiversity. In a bid to have, more food, we have unconsciously and yes, sometimes consciously adopted monoculture. But then as a result, what is happening is that so many living organisms, whether it be worms, whether it be animals, whether it be different varieties of weeds, which are actually important for some animals and some organisms to complete their life cycle, all those are vanishing from the face of the earth. So in the school, we are making a very, very conscious effort to increase biodiversity. And what I see, this effort has been there for about 10 years now. And what I see in my school is a number of varieties of butterflies. And in fact, to enhance their life and to provide them a better environment, we even have a butterfly park where no pruning is allowed. And yes, the salt mixed with cow dung, these are the things we came to know through various people, and fermented fruits, all those things are being provided over there. And increasing biodiversity is also making us see a number of different varieties of beetles. So when hibiscus plants are in full bloom, we also welcome the red and black striped beetles in our school, which are otherwise very rarely seen in Delhi. So that is another aspect that we are working on. And then it's a lot of outdoor learning. You might say, how is that related to sustainability? Well, it is, because the more we put our students in classrooms and sometimes air-conditioned classrooms with the mindset that winters should always be warm and summers should always be cold. But then our students, we've taught them to appreciate seasons. So, and with outdoor learning, what is happening is they are getting exposure to sunlight, and that important vitamin, which many of us are taking supplements for, vitamin D, is being naturally produced in the bodies. And yes, we are ensuring that these children would probably have a healthier lifestyle. So what I want to say is that sustainability is not a very big science, but we simply need to have a firm resolve, and we need to look into our ancient Indian scriptures. Believe you me, that's the most important thing, because the ancient India, the people then had lesser number of diseases, they had more healthy lifestyles, they did not complain of so many lifestyle diseases that almost are a part of our life now. So that is one way that we at ML Khanna DAV Public School are promoting sustainable lifestyles and sustainable education. Thank you, Dr. Sabat, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am, for your things. Because before I leave, I should say something about this program and how this education sustainability all going on. Ma'am, you have told three things, very nice thing. One is outdoor learning. Many of our classes now, we are only confined to classroom teaching, and the parents are packing, because when I go to a school, the principal says, sir, these are not good thing. The parents are complaining not to take out the students like that. Yesterday we had a discussion about the compulsory education, environment education in our schools and colleges syllabus. Madam Elijah from Samlal College, there is a foundation course on environmental studies, and everybody is teaching, everybody is learning, but how to doing and knowing, because when you go to a practical field, you should know what is going on. Like morning, Rekha madam has given a glimpses of the air, water, energy, biodiversity, how the schools are doing. If it is possible in a school, I think that is our main environment learning. And what the SDG, Hiroko told, the SDG things and ESD, the environment sustainable education SED in the schools, I think that will be success when we do some practical oriented work in the schools. We both had been to Japan to see the schools in Japan, how they are performing. And after coming from Japan, ma'am has transferred their school in such a way. Now it is a very good school. The city forest, what ma'am is told about the biodiversity park and the butterfly park. The schools are very neat and clean. Earlier it was very not so much of clean, but when we visited, I think 2 months back, I was so stunned that she had made a beautiful school in that way. So whenever we do something in a practicality, I think that is the only environment. Only hearing, lecturing, or maybe attending conference is not enough. We have to do something and we have to change our lifestyle. So the lifestyle change is one of the best thing if you do in environment education. And many people now they are transforming, many students transforming, because in my 20-30 years of experience in the eco clubs, schools and colleges, I am getting enormous calls from the students. Now they say, I am in TCS, can you please tell us what can I do in TCS? One fellow is in IBM, they say there are a lot of e-waste generating, sir, what to do with this? There is a problem and there is a challenging. Yesterday when we were discussing, everybody is telling the challenge. Really it is a challenge, but how to overcome, it's all our job. And that's why the conference and the sustainability education is all about. And hopefully wherever we are very small numbers, but if you change ourselves to the lifestyle change, environmental education, maybe lesser paper, maybe lesser electricity, maybe lesser lifestyle consumption pattern. So yesterday Mita was telling about the dil mange more. Now the students are always in a demanding mode. And all this now, the pizza, everything coming in the big pack. If you see the Amazon, yesterday there was somebody was saying, why don't you write to the Amazon not to be a big packs? For a small thing, they are giving a very big pack. So losing environment and biodiversity. So these are some of the issues. And when our students and teachers educate, I think the people and some speakers told about how you can involve the community. Not only you do in your school, but you have to change agents and the community leaders so that they can tell. And the morning session, Rekha session, somebody saying, if the children tell their parents, I think they hear. And that was what we observe also in our long-term association with schools. If the teacher says something and the students say something, the parents, they are hearing. So we have to cater all our large number of parents, those who are careless about the environment. I think that can be done. And two things in the outdoor learning. This is very, very important. I tell always the schools to send your children twice or once or twice in a year so that they can learn. In Delhi, we have a lot of things to see. There are 26 biodiversity parks, there are many city forests. The students can go and see. Unless until go out, I think environment education is not sufficient. Only teaching is not enough. So I hope that the lesson will learn and we have to practice. So our next session, next panelist today. Now I invite Mr. Dorji to speak.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sabat. Good afternoon. Before I start giving you a brief overview of education system in Bhutan, I would like to say that I feel very hesitant to speak in front of particularly two very seasoned and successful schoolmasters and then many other educationists here in the audience. However, I would like to briefly give you an outline of how education system in Bhutan is being changed in the face of 21st century, in the face of coping up with the changes happening in 21st century. What Bhutan is doing is we have been restructuring, actually completely restructuring the education system that we have in our country. And the restructuring is actually directly under the direction of His Majesty the King and the present government. Before I talk about our plan to restructure the education system, I would like to give you a brief background of how education system actually started in Bhutan. In Bhutan, before 1950s, our education system was mostly monastic. So our education system, they were centered in the monastic institutions across the country. And the monastic education system is based on Vajrayana Buddhism that we have. And the people studying in monastic centers, they studied Tibetan and then Buddhist philosophy. And starting 1950s, actually the first school started in 1908 in Bhutan. But the popularity of having Western education system started from 1950. From then, we started to integrate our monastic education system into the Western education system. So that is why from kindergarten till the undergrad, we have education subjects being taught in English medium, but we also have subjects related to our national language, culture, value, and then Buddhism, monastic education. So this is actually how we have actually structured our education system since 1950s. And currently, currently to discuss about the success of education system that we have in Bhutan, the literacy rate, the overall literacy rate has gone up to 71%, but 71% because our education system only started from 1950s and 60s. But amongst the youth, our literacy rate is 93%. So come next 1-2 generation, the literacy rate of the country will be around 98 to 99%. So this is actually something that we really need to appraise for starting the education system that we have in Bhutan. And now coming back to the restructuring of the education system that we have in Bhutan, this is actually in line to integrating the philosophy of gross national happiness that was propounded by His Majesty the Fourth King in 1974, and also keeping up with the concept of sustainable development. Although sustainability education is one of the pillars of sustainable development goal, we believe education should be actually the foundation on which the rest of the sustainable development goal should be based. With this particular idea, with this belief, what we have looked at is, we look at 4 aspects of education. Under the philosophy of gross national happiness, we have 4 pillars and 9 domains. One of the domains is education. And under education as the domain, we have 4 aspects. The first one is literacy, second is schooling, third is knowledge, and fourth is value. Keeping up with all these value systems that we have, what we are trying to do is, we are actually trying to look at restructuring the education system, which will encompass the drive to create enlightened citizen in the country. So this is actually the vision of His Majesty the King, and this vision has been steering the restructuring program of our country's education system. So today, the education system is looked after by Ministry of Education. Ministry of Education is actually a spearing institution looking after education from kindergarten till 12th standard. And we have University, Royal University of Bhutan, looking after undergraduate and programs that are offered after undergraduate programs. And the primary aim of restructuring the education system that we have is 3. The first one is, we are trying to, of course, enhance our human resource for the development of the country. But when we say enhancement of human resources, we believe we would like to create an education system which will cater to the need of 21st century. So it's not just the literacy and numeracy that we are aiming to provide for the students. We're also trying to bring in the 21st century skills that are very necessary. And the second aim is enlighten the minds of the people to cope up with the modern world. So modern times have modern challenges, and COVID-19 has only taught us more about the modern challenges. And in keeping in all these modern challenges, we are trying to come up with education system that will actually prepare our youths to cope up with the challenges. And the third one is, we aim at creation of wholesome citizen. So when I say wholesome citizen, there are a few values that we would like to have, that we would like to integrate in our education system. Now, coming to the value systems that we have, we are actually looking at 4 value systems that we are trying to integrate into our education system. And I'm not saying that these values are not there in our education system. We are just trying to refashion it. We are just trying to reiterate it and then trying to make it stronger, very visible, very vivid and visible in the education system that we have. And the values are, the first value is we would like to come up with education system that fosters the culture of excellence. When I say culture of excellence, I remember one of your principles when you give a talk, the creation of culture, institutional culture. So we are trying to actually look at excellence as an institutional culture. So when I say excellence as an institutional culture, we are trying to build education system and education institutions which will actually enhance, or which will actually uphold excellence in the aspect of academics, excellence in aspect of profession, and an aspect of being very holistic. So these are 3 values that we are looking at. And these values are more or less, again, aimed at achieving citizen ownership and commitment to help the society. And this is the first value that we have, we're looking at. And the second value that we have is integrity. So when I say integrity, we are trying to teach our students the value of honesty, honor, and truthfulness. And these are some things that we really would like to bring into our education system, the restructured education system. Third value we have is respect. Respect for self, respect for others, and more importantly, respect to rights and dignity of all. So this is something that we really would like to bring it or integrate it into the new education system that we are trying to build. And this value, respect for self, others, right, and dignity, is for an achievement of an environment that fosters health, safety, civility, decency, and personal responsibility. And the fifth value that we have is we would like to have our students inculcated the quality of continuous learning. So continuous learning, meaning in them they should have the value of spirit of continuous learning, improvement, and innovation with the growth mindset. So these are the 4 values that we are actually aiming to bring into our education system to achieve the aforementioned 3 goals that we have. And now, talking about bringing in all these kind of values and then aims and objectives, I would also like to touch on the challenges we see in restructuring our education. The first challenges that we have is we will need to completely look and restructure the curriculum of the education that we have. We also need to look at pedagogy. We need to look at learning processes as well as assessment processes. So these are the primary challenges that we see in restructuring our education system. However, the bigger challenge would be to balance technological integration into education with identity, with creation of identity. So this is another challenge that we see. And most of all, the very difficult thing that we may face is how to actually integrate, how to actually restructure education system that can integrate the value and integrity. Because our education system is, when I say again, our education system is modern and we follow Western education system. When I say Western education system, usually English medium based European and American education system. So in that way, we also need to reinvent our education system by trying to bring back the cultural and traditional value system into education system that we have. And this is going to be one of the major challenges that we are going to face. And other thing could be because our Bhutanese culture and tradition is very much based on Buddhist philosophy, and then our relationship to the environment. I feel like even the culture, the creation of culture of research and innovation will be a major challenge. So in that way, we actually really need to look at trying to make it very holistic in achieving all these values in our education system. Maybe I'll stop here for the first session, and then if you have any question, I'll take it later. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dorji. I think coming from a carbon negative country like Bhutan, we in India, we look up to you for solutions. But I think, as you said, three things. One is the value, which is very, very important now in younger generation. They are exposed to the search engines and where they can Google and find out a lot of information. So they get confused. So yes, value system is what is required. And then you said the skill system. So skill is what is required for them to hone whatever they're interested, they can take up in that direction. So yes, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Over to, I think, Dr. Sasikant Das, Principal Tagore Government Art and Science College, Puducherry, India. So over to you, sir.
इसको मिनिमाइज करके रख देता हूँ जी गूगल में इसको ओपन करें
Good afternoon to all of you. Many of you must be thinking that why I'm limping. So it can happen to any one of us at any one of any point of time. Yesterday night I was so happy, but within 5 minutes I went through a very difficult stage where I just fell down from the bus and I got injured in my leg. In the morning I had gone to the doctor and I felt no, for me this conference is more important, the plastering or whatever the medical assistance can be later on. So what I feel that life can bring lot many challenges, lot many opportunities, and standing here it's also not that easy for me. But then I thought this is the time where I should take a challenge to myself, and this opportunity that I'll be getting, maybe tomorrow my leg will be okay, but I'll not get this opportunity second time. I thought I'll just come and stand before all of you. Thank you. Thank you. Respected dignitaries on the stage and all the wonderful participants and resource persons. I've been hearing many of the people yesterday, and since morning also I've observed it's a fantastic program. Saying this, if you'll see, my name is nowhere listed in the original schedule. It was last minute addition. They said, sir, somewhere we'll insert you in. So every time I get inserted in my life, wherever some problem happens, I've been thrown into. And just to tell you that I'm a government college principal through UPSC. It's a Tagore and Government Arts and Science College in Pondicherry, the southern part of India. And this is my 4th college as a principal. Before that, I was also the registrar of Pondicherry Central University. But everywhere people have seen me as a straightforward, people have seen me, for them it's a problematic. And whenever I try to do something, I was thrown out from that college on transfer. And this present college, where this is Tagore Government Arts and Science College, I can just tell you, this is a government college, which is the oldest one in Pondicherry. People are talking of sustainability, but I'm represent the government colleges here, that we have nearly 14,000 government colleges in this country. But when other schools or public schools or private colleges, they are talking of sustainability, for us it's a day-to-day basis livelihood only. We have to fight on day-to-day basis, whether electricity is there, water is there, toilets are clean, girls are having a common room. That is where we just fight in. But saying this, I was also a women's college principal, where they have transferred because I tried to force the teachers to take classes properly. Just imagine. I just made I did not compromise on the teachers taking the classes. That's this. It's in a public platform thing, and I can say it anywhere. And because of that, they have, they have impressed, they have influenced the bureaucrats, the political leaders for my transfer and transferred me to one of the college, which is the most difficult college to run in. And that college is known as Tagore Arts College, which is known for its disturbances. Every week, if 2 days are not suspended, then that is not a college. That's not a regular routine. I'm talking the truth. And the government or the people, they thought that we will transfer this fellow to that college, he will be set right, so that I'll be okay. So when I went to this college is almost the, the heritage college of Pondicherry, and having 15 acres of land. I said, why not do something else? Why not see it in a fresh? Because what is the problem? The problem is not about the students. The problem is the mindset. And the mindset is not about the students' mindset. The mindset of the teachers and the principal, those who are leading. And I thought, why not the principals should be the proactive one and start working on. I have just taken off environment into that case because from 1995 onwards, I have been associated with plantation only. But then for the last 22-25 years, I am not associated with any organization. So whichever government college, whichever place I have been posted, I have been kept on plantation. So I've done it in Arunachal Pradesh. I've done it almost in Hyderabad Central University and now in the Pondicherry also. So in the last 25 years, I have planted single-handedly nearly 25,000 trees only. And that 25,000, out of 25,000, I have the record of nearly 13,000 trees which are alive. 13,000. So that is because what is happening, people, when I belong to Tagore Arts and Tagore, what Rabindranath Tagore has said, he has said that industry is a must, development is a must, but not at the cost of the environment. If that has been polluted, everything has been polluted. So I thought, why not development has to happen, but along with this environment. So I have taken this college. You can see the first slide. It's the first picture is me standing, in the middle itself, which was a barren land. And after 5 years, that is the transformation. The second picture, you can see it, that how the college was looking like. It's a full of posters and all. And the government college, if you don't see a public poster, then that is not a government college. So I just try to say it. The second transformation is after 5 years. And then this is where in 2019, I started again plantation. Then in 2020, 21, 22, and you can see the changes. Then the next is that a place which was used to be a garbage center, you can see the library, which is totally transformed into a green library. Then this is again, I just tell you, 2017 itself, a middle place which was used to be a dumping yard. That was used to be a dumping yard. You can see that this same name tree in the first picture, and in the fourth picture, you can see that it's converted into a park with pigeons, with parrots, and with rabbits. And that is the one of the most beautiful place, transformation in 4. And the next, you can see that was again a barren land, and after 4 years, how that has been converted. And this is the college, government college. I have started cultivating these vegetables, and these vegetables has been very useful during the Corona times, where 145 days I have been serving food to the nearby villages. 14 villages I have been serving along with some of my near and dear ones. And how many times I was affected with COVID, I don't know. But that 145 days I have served, and that is the best thing of showing our humanity during crisis time. And that is the reason, I'm not here just to boast what I've done, but I have been featured in the Better India, Detail India, and this report has gone up to the BBC level also. It's not of the local history, it has gone up to the BBC level. And this third is the flowers. When I entered this college, it was not having a single flower. It was full with the, cattle and lot of things. Now, these are some of the flowers, and we have almost 25 varieties of flowers in this campus. And next is talking of the apiculture. I have started the apiculture in a government college where it's not for the selling. It's just showing to the student that you can also start doing it, because first we are expecting the students to behave. But I said the teachers should first behave. The principals should start behave. And most of the time we are expecting the student to be the better citizens when the teachers themselves or the principal themselves not a better citizen. So I thought that why not do it from the first level? And people say, how you are involving your students? I said they are not plucking the flower. That is the biggest involvement. They are not taking the leave. That is the biggest involvement, because the college is not a place to involve them. College is a place to teach them. College is a place to make them that this is what you can do when you will get a position after 2 or 3 or 4 years. That is how. So the apiculture is basically, you know, cultivating this honey and all, and that is for the people to sow it. And next is people are talking of the water harvesting. I said that I have 15 acres of land, and in the last 4 years, 44 lakh liters, 44 lakhs liters, 44 lakhs of liters has been recharged to this earth, and all my plantations are surviving because of this water. And what I did, I have done what is, people may say that how much is the expenditure? The expenditure is only rupees 18,000 Indian. That's it. That much I have spent, and 44 lakhs liters of water could have been recharged to this earth in this last 4 years. Next you can then see the tank, and the tank, of course, it doesn't, the water doesn't return for more time, but at least that is sufficient enough. Next is basically, this is my green forest, where I'm talking that all these people, the dignitary, including Madam Kiran Bedi, including the President, Lieutenant Governor, many of the dignitaries, they have just visited my campus only. They've just visited, not for any official programs, they've just visited. And just let to tell you that this is the list. And now you can see Madam Kiran Bedi or subsequently, and all these programs. And my college, when people are talking of inviting the guest, I said that guest means it's not only the college students, the guest can be the transgenders. So I have invited the transgenders to visit my campus. And let me tell you, the transgenders, those who have never been seen a college, 3 of them, they've given their opinion, sir. After 4 years or after 5 years, you'll see that they're all 8th standard, 6th standard, 5th standard dropouts. And we only see them, you know, begging in the road here and there. But that is not their lifestyle. The society has, you know, sent them out to this place. That is the reason they're begging. But then out of that, what is, after seeing this college, they have they have taken a promise that, sir, we want to pass out from a college, and definitely that college will be one of these. That is the kind of impression. So what I've done, I have involved the farmers to this college. I have last month only 500 farmers, I brought them to this college and had a seed mela. So that 2,000 varieties of seed. The purpose was not of the seed, the purpose is congregation. Because any educational institution is not for the students alone. It is for the community, for the stakeholders, and they are the stakeholders of the society. So you can see all the dignitaries, what they have said. And we have an open air classroom. Because most of them programs, I don't do it in a conference hall. I don't do it if it is something like of orientation program, something like of, you know, motivation. I just try to do it on an open air classroom only. So these are the ministers, these are included Padma Shri Awardee, Padma Vibhushan, all those people, they visited this college. And the last picture you can see it. It is the all transgenders, those who have visited. And this is what I do. Whoever comes, sir, for the information, there is a Corona Memorial Garden. Maybe this concept will be very new for many of the people, but I have started doing it in my college, because many people, Corona people say we have learned a lot of things out of the Corona, but what did you learn? That's most important. I said, did you plant a tree? Because you are talking that, okay, if you are planting a tree, then you are loving others more than yourself, or you are loving others also along with you. But that is most important. So how many people? So whoever started visiting this campus, we have made a plantation for them in the Corona Memorial. 5 to 10 seconds of, remembrance, tribute, and plant a tree. That way we have planted nearly 2,000 in the last 2 years alone in that area. So that has been inaugurated by none other than the Lieutenant Governor of Puducherry. So, and along with that, lot of Vice Chancellor, former Vice Chancellor dignitaries, they all visit. And this is, I'm trying to bring it into the map of Visit Pondicherry, one of the spot. And that is the reason many of the people, those are coming, including from Delhi also, when they visit, no, will visit your college, because that is one of the urban, because people are talking of that, yes, college in urban cities. I said college in an urban forest. That is what. And when I'm talking of urban forest, I'm talking of the urban forestry, as well as, the food park. I have created a food park where the layers of forest I have developed. The 7 layers of forest has been developed in that campus. So these are some of the visitors, and this is which has been ANI, all those reports, Republic World, and this is in the barren land into a lush green. That's Indian Express or the Hindu. And when you're talking of the Indian Express, people say that it is the second Santiniketan of South India. But there in the paper it is written, the Santiniketan is discovered. But here this has been created. So we have created this Santiniketan of South India in Tagore Government Arts Science College. And then this is again the newspapers and bulletins, and that has gone to the extent of into the BBC also. And you can see even the disabled children also we have been bringing to this college to see them. Last week also, we have invited the physically, mentally retarded section to come. See, let them experience what the green campus is meaning, because most of the time we said as many as people bring them in, then it will be more famous, and that is how this nature will infuse some positives into their minds. And this is the food mela, and the student, they have written on their walls, thank you. But before that, I'll just request one of the technician, please come. एक मिनट आई. कहां पर है? अच्छा, आप लेकर. ओके. This is just 2 minutes in a nutshell. This building, which was full of posters sometime before. This used to be barren land. Corona Memorial Garden. Now this is the point which I was referring. The other side is the urban place, and this is the college within the city, within this forest. And this is the outcome of my last 7 years of continuous plantation, and this is how this is looking like. And this is the college where 4,400 students are studying with 140 teachers. This is how it looks like. Thank you. And the outcome, if people think that now I have completed my 13 years of principal in government colleges, I have never faced a single protest or strike by the students. Now in the same college, almost 6 years, I'm asking the student go for a protest so that I'll get transfer. But that is not happening. So the outcome is, the result is very good from the student side. The temperature is almost 3 degrees less from the urban city, from the main city. And there's a complete transformation among the students' mindset. That is what I wanted. When people do talk of sustainability, this is the sustainability because they are the future. So once they've understood the meaning of discipline, once they've understood that what a college means, when they will become the professor, they will never say that students are supposed to suffer in an educational institution. Our job is only to provide the basic facility. Let them be excelling their own way. So thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. So I think for a plantation and for a tree to survive, it requires 3 years. So we wish that every 3 years you get a transfer and transform a barren land into a green campus. So that is our wish for you, and we really sincerely hope that you get okay. I think you are unable to walk also. So for that, and wish you a good health, so that you bring in the green environment as is required. So I would do the concluding session. I have a pen drive. If somebody can help me in play that. Oh, sure, sure.
How do we mix assessment and sustainability? Like, how do we ensure that while our curriculum, we are, the different modes that we are taking in for our curriculum assessment, they are conforming to the sustainability.
Hello? Oh, am I audible? All right, all right. Thank you for your.
You have to raise your volume.
Hello. All right. I think. Well, thank you for your question. Actually, I'm not an expert in education system, but it's been little more than half a decade I've worked in education in Bhutan, and in last 3 years I have actually started BSc in environmental management program in Royal Thimphu College. So that's why I look after that program. It's a 4-year program, and for the start of that program, we have actually tried to integrate different elements of sustainability education, and more or less actually even before the Paris Agreement and the Sustainable Development Goals were discussed in the convention. I mean, we have actually our own philosophy of development, and then I think our philosophy of development is more or less, it resonates the sustainable development concept. So that is why actually we look at our development philosophy, and then in that we have like 4 different value systems. And one important aspect of education is the value of the education. So in that way, when we actually framed the education, particularly from my experience, when we started that particular program, what we did is we tried to reiterate the value or the aim of educating our students. And then I think the most practical and actionable example comes from Dr. Sasi here. So we actually we are also trying to actually look at that kind of education system, the creation of that kind of education system. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult. And in terms of assessment, coming back to your question, in terms of assessment, we are actually focusing on from 2 different kinds of assessment, formative and summative. We are actually focusing on formative assessment, mostly formative assessment. And our aim of focusing on formative assessment is we are redefining the definition of formative assessment. So formative assessment is supposed to be, I think, participate in the process of shaping someone academically. What we are trying to do is we are trying to look at the formative assessment from firstly practical point of view. So most of our assessments are very practical. We're trying to bring in actionable assessment kind of thing. We have a lot of projects in many of the modules that we offer, and almost all the projects that we have, they are very practical. Just to give you an example, in the college that I work, my students, when I taught biodiversity, my students did the biodiversity assessment of the whole landscape. So that is that kind of example. And other thing is, just to give another example, in waste management or a module, what my students did is they did work with one of the waste collection institute in Bhutan, and they actually worked on systematizing the recycling process. So that kind of assessment we are looking into. But we are also not saying that as summative assessments are not important. We also have a small component of summative assessment. At the end of the day, we will of course need to assess if the students have a theoretical concept. But more or less, they will need to use the theoretical concept that they have in contextualizing and then granularizing the whole concept into the context that they work or that they are in. So this is actually what we are trying to do. And then I cannot say we have achieved it. We're still on the way. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can go on. Oh, yeah. I think you can use that. No?
Thank you. Is this working? Yes. I'm being a bit cheeky here, jumping in, but whenever I hear how we assess things, I have some, maybe I can stand up here.
Yes.
I've got some quite strong views, which many of you may disagree with, but I think assessment is very often one of the most powerful ways to cripple what we do as educators, because we start feeling very accountable as educators to providing metrics on how well we're doing. If we take it one level further and say, if the object of the school is to produce great people, which I think is actually the most important thing, we don't have criteria for that. And if we tried to put them into numbers that people could assess and see if we were doing a good job or not, we would be really missing the point. And we reduce qualities to numbers that satisfy people who need metrics of success. And I would come back to a point I made yesterday, which is the real test is not how well a student is doing in their subject. It may be much more about how well is a community doing, and that maybe the area of assessing education for sustainability, we shouldn't be assessing individuals, we should be assessing whole institutions and communities. And this comes back to the idea of developing an institutional or school learning-based culture. That may be easier to assess. We've just had a very inspiring example of a school where somebody comes in, invests in creating a culture, and are we actually interested in how well student X or student Y is scoring in their environmental studies? We're much more interested in seeing an institution where actually everybody's swept along by that. So I would certainly encourage, whether there are policymakers here or rabble-rousers like me who want to push back against this idea that numerical and metric assessment of things that are ultimately about human qualities rather than measurable quantitative outcomes, I think we need to push back against this. It will turn it into another slavish school subject where you get an A, a B, a C, a D, or an E, and if you get an A, you'll probably be very happy you got an A, but the real entrepreneurs usually get D's and E's, and they're the ones that very often change the world because they have the drive and other qualities to be successful. So I'm sorry to grab the microphone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. That was very nice. And it is like putting them into brackets and telling a fish to climb the tree or telling a bird to start swimming. So I understand that comes from that. So I'll just take you. I'm Rekha Lala from Climate Reality Project India. We have developed a program that's Green Campus program. Sir has done a lot of work, Sashikant sir. So I'll just take you what our schools those do the program. It is besides the teaching. It is not a program which it supports the other subject. It is not. It is not compulsory. It is not a curriculum based, but it is to be integrated into the. So can I have on the screen, please? So I'll just take you quickly why we thought that why not students should understand what they take from the environment, how they give into the environment, their resources and everything. So we aligned them with different subjects. We say English is there, social studies there, maths is there. So why not these students calculate their own carbon footprint and see that what are the resources and how much they are using. So that is what our program talks about. So we thought that yes, unsustainable we are once we are into the metro cities and we know how much of resources are left, how much of pollution is there on the road, and how to know these students, because they are not aware, they are not really know, they have not done first-hand experience. So that's why we thought, let's move and make their campus green. Let them do it themselves and realize that. So we talk about energy, biodiversity, water conservation, waste management, and clean air. So that's what we have taken it to. So when we talk about energy, it is not about just the solar, but reflective rooftop, something which easily school can manage. They can have a building orientation toward north, south when they are making a building or planning a building, or having a south facing windows, air cooling systems. Or last is the solar installation, because that is not cost effective. There is a cost involved to it. So that's what the schools have done. They have done the full roof. You can see the solars which they can. So they have done a case study also, which students have only done that. Their load consumption was, daily consumption was 318 units and monthly bill was 86,000. By installing the solar, what they have taken out, that their bills have reduced to 6,500 INR. So that's why how the students learn. So these schools, they had some resources and they were a huge campus of 100 acre. So they had this e-rickshaw in their campus for the parents, because for the PTM meeting, from going to one classroom to another, it was difficult. That was South India. And these are the solar reflective rooftop. They just painted for and even the tanks also, you can see the black Syntex tanks, they have painted white. These are the small measures because of the heat, tropical heat the India we have. Air sheets, again we say small measures when we talk about climbers, creepers. So I also did an experiment. I thought, I keep telling to the school to have creepers and climbers. Let me have it for my house. So I also had the climbers and creeper. I have seen that it takes 2 years for them to become the huge and cover the building. So now I can rightfully go and tell them, okay, you can also have it. And I have bougainvillea, I have creepers, all kinds of whatever is available in my area, I have planted them. Horizontal, when we say, is the circular spaces around, if you can see the canopy, in around the canopy also they have creepers. So that's a nice and cool way of keeping it at a minimum temperature. Hard paved surfaces, I think that should be reduced to minimum and have more, so that there is water, underground water filtration is there, clean mobility, which we talk about. Bicycle, we don't say that, okay, you can have a bicycle, because children's security is very, very important, and the kind of rush we have on the roads, only the nearby, if the rural area is there, the children can take bicycle, but not otherwise, because in cities we have we don't have a single track which is only for cycle track or something which the students can use. So these are the measures. When air, we say school keep monitoring and seeing that how much of air quality is there, what they have. It is kind of a consciousness being built up in the students, and this is where we live in. These are the South India, where the schools and residents of the school students are very near. So I think 70% students, they use bicycle. And plus there is a poverty also is one of the reason where they use bicycle. And then this is Rajasthani Jali system, where air circulation, when the student, there are most of the schools, 90% schools don't have AC system, air conditioning inside. If they have air condition, they have air conditioning only in the computer room or a teacher's principal's room. Sorry for that, but yes, they have it in principal's room in AC, yes, and a staff room. Or students don't have, they have only 2 or 4 fans. Being a teacher for myself for 25 years, I can vouch for that. So 4 fans are there, and which keeps running sometimes, and most of the times they are not ill equipped. So their air circulation, this is what I feel, that very unique method they can take, that air circulation system, Rajasthani Jali system, so that there is circulation for the students. You can see this is the May month, and this photograph I have clipped of students running around the corridor, but because of from that Jali, they are getting some air circulation there. And then we say CNG buses, because of the pollution so much of there. So campuses, those who have huge ones, they have the parking spaces. Other schools, those who have very little funds, they don't have such luxuries, I will say. So this is the building shaft one of the school has built up. They were vertical. They don't have any other way of operating. They don't have, never had any green area or anything, but they had a unique thing. They had this shaft center of the building, which was very good for air circulation. So I thought, yes, some unique idea which I can carry to other schools which are like that. Yes, ventilated classrooms, which is what we tell them. We tell them to measure their classroom. We tell them to use lux meter and see there how much of light is there, sunlight is there. So that way they calculate it and make their own dossier, make their own report, and make their own report card of their own school. How green is their school? So these are the exhaust on the rooftop of a school. And when we say about water, rainwater harvesting is what we pitch in. We tell them to do wastewater treatment. We tell them to have recharge wells. We support them as much as we can. We tell them to have drip irrigation, sprinkler system, so that there is less water. Whatever the water is there, there is reused one. Some of them, they have faucets, aerators, flow restrictors. So this is the waste treatment plant in one of the school, and it's a residential school, so they had a huge one. And whatever this is, they run on net zero emission. This is school, so it is worth watching. I think everybody, those who talk about net zero economy, I think should go and see this school. And they don't have even 1% of waste. Everything, whatever is made, they use it. Their wastewater treatment, again, that is goes after treatment, that goes into the field. They make their own crop, and that is what they use for giving it to their students. So there is nothing which goes waste in this school. And this is the wastewater treatment in one of the Delhi school only. These are permeable pavers. When we say that don't have the cemented area, so they can have this permeable pavers, so that the water can flow down. Rainwater harvesting systems in all the green schools. So I've just taken pictures of, this is Coimbatore, again South India. Sensor taps in one of the Delhi schools, which is I think need of the hour, because we have all the water bodies dying out due to waste, and our glaciers melting. Climate change is one of the big reasons. So I think we need to save whatever we have little. So these are the rainwater harvesting systems in Delhi school. This is when we say about waste, we always we say, have you seen the landfills, big huge heaps of garbage. So we tell students how to do color coded bins, red or green, at least 2. Do vermicomposting, plastic free campuses, e-waste, paper recycling. That's what students keep doing it. And these are the sprinkler system we always insist to have it. And some of our team would go and inspect what they have done, what kind of measures which they have taken. So these are the leaf composters, big, huge ones which they have in different shapes. These are the use of steel tiffins. We have, I think, till primary, from 1st standard till 5th standard, we have midday meal scheme. So the school has used these tiffins for serving lunch, so that there is less of wastage and reusable things are not there. These are using of used plastic bottles, which students have done it, and they have made their own benches where they use for sitting outside for lunch hours. So this is a before and after they took our project. So they have taken the out the cement and made it into a green area. These are paper recycling machine. Most of the schools in Delhi, they have this paper recycling machine. They recycle it and they connect it with the craft workshop or a craft art and art department. So whatever they make, they use it for making their craft work. This is again a school which has a Goshala for their milk. As I told you, it's a residential school. They take milk from that for the students and they use it, and the whatever the cow dung, they make it compost for that. These are the huge composting thing in different schools. And when we talk about biodiversity, usually biodiversity is when you have a space to plant. And due to the restriction, I think, and schools having less space, they don't have space to plant. So we tell them wherever they can get government spaces, they can go and do the plantation there. But again, they have to be looked after. Just like little kids, I think the trees are also to be looked after. So that is what we tell them. So this is the green surrounding you can see in one of the school. And this is their vegetable garden. You can clearly see the bottle gourds there and brinjals. Their students are picking up brinjals from there. And that is given to the students only to take it home as a trophy for them. So these are the naming of the species which we tell them, because I think sometimes I also forget which is this plant. And if you see it every day, I think then you remember the names. And it is just bringing the students, not teaching them, but bringing them closer to nature. And as I always believe that someday they would be the one at position to take a decision. So they should take in the favor of environment. So these are the creepers and climbers. You can see this is what I experimented at home. I have my own vegetable garden at my rooftop, and I have 400 plants over there. And I have given my husband the duty to water today. So that's what he says, a lot of work he has to do today. So these are the walkaways between the classrooms, you can see, but green surroundings, the students also enjoy that. Outdoor classrooms, as I told you, that these are the bottles they have used to make their own outside garden and benches. And terrace gardening, some of the schools have done it very nicely, and they have color coded classrooms. So when we say this purple classroom, they have all kinds of, I don't know how they have done it. They have taken out all the purple flowers of that area and they have planted around that classroom. And every month there is one flower blooming, making it a purple thing. Similarly, they have a pink classroom, and it was very nice to see. When I visited that area and that school, it was so nice to see them that they have a color coded. And how did they do it? And they made a list of it, and they would have planted, and now they have grown it so. They might have taken 10-15 years to do the plan and then see the result. So sometimes people do so many good things, so it's nice to appreciate that. So this is, then we tell them to audit their own system, how much of what they are using, what is water, waste, energy, how much they are using. So that's the calculation part. So we take teachers training for Delhi, Himachal, Odisha, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Telangana, Punjab. We have online and offline. Online Corona or COVID-19 has taught us. So we have been taking it on climate change, air, water, waste, biodiversity, on all the SDGs. And we take it for all the registered members. So I keep visiting physical also and tell teachers about what we can or they can do with their students. We have all the content on online, and we compile, and this is one of the video.
जगाला माहीत झालेलं आहे की आता पूर वाढायला लागलेले आहे सगळीकडे, वेगवेगळी अशी संकट, नैसर्गिक संकटही यायला लागलेली आहेत. या संकटाच्या पाठीमागं मानवच आहे, हे नक्की आहे. आणि त्यामुळे आपण जर जागरूक जर झालो नाही तर भविष्यामध्ये या पिढीला पुढच्या पिढीला स्वच्छ हवा मिळणार नाही, अनेक संकटांना तोंड द्यावं लागणार आहे.
But the young generation has not given up. These school students are working on making their campus green. The Green Campus program, where students focus on 5 factors to have what most people call a sustainable living. Students grow trees, keep a tab on air quality, and use public transport as much as possible to keep the environment pollution free. And that is not all. They follow No Vehicle Day every once a week. No private vehicles apart from bicycles are allowed in the campus. Students learn uses of medicinal plants and the importance of having birds and insects in the ecosystem.
कॅम्पस 1 आणि 2 मध्ये हरित क्षेत्र किती असलं पाहिजे, तर 50% साधारण असलं पाहिजे. पण आपण भरपूर सारं प्लांटेशन करून ते 70% पर्यंत नेलेलं आहे.
To manage waste better, the campus has separate dustbins for wet waste, dry waste, hazardous waste, and e-waste.
जवळपास आम्ही 3 टन कचरा आणि शेणखतापासून 2 टन प्युअर असं गांडूळ खत तयार करतो.
Students are taught rainwater harvesting techniques to manage and conserve water.
ह्याच्यामधून जर पाणी स्टोअर केलं तर 21 लाख लिटर पावसाळ्याच्या दिवसामध्ये आम्ही पाणी साठवून ठेवू शकतो.
जे कन्व्हेन्शनल एनर्जी सोर्सेस याच्यामध्ये जे आम्ही वापरलेले होते त्याची जर आपण इकॉनॉमिक कॉस्ट पाहिली तर जवळजवळ आम्ही 1.5 लाखापर्यंत ऊर्जेचं बिल याच्यामध्ये वाचवलेलं आहे.
Teachers are trained to be climate conscious and they in turn guide students on sustainability measures. However, the program does not stay restricted just to the campus.
प्लास्टिकचं वेस्ट मॅनेजमेंट कसं करायचं, पाण्याचं नियोजन कसं करायचं त्याबद्दल माझ्या मुलांना मला सांगितलं. शाळेतील मुलांना घेऊन आम्ही प्रत्येक घरात जाऊन याबद्दल माहिती दिली. लोकांना खूप चांगली पटली, लोकांनी आम्हाला खूप चांगला प्रतिसाद दिला. प्लास्टिक ज्याने बाहेर टाकण्याचं पूर्णपणे बंद केलेलं आहे.
Teachers and students talk about the program in their homes and community, gradually spreading the message of conserving the environment by changing our own actions. And hence begins the ripple effect of this program.
Thank you. Any questions are welcome for all our online also, as well as those who are present here.
Whose duty is to say goodbye?
If there are no questions, then we can go for a tease. So yeah, thank you.
Hello. Check one. Check one. Check one. Check one. Check one.
Yeah. We don't need it.
We need to change the word. We need to snap that.